All right. Well, as promised, Hollywood came by and scrubbed the script, and we all got cut, recasted, and so this is just an outtake of us doing our rankings.
And welcome back. We are Rough Draft Research. You are the audience. Together we're on a mission of Dynasty domination. We're going to talk a little mock, a little rankings, positional rankings. So I'll kick it over to you boys and let's explain what's going down.
Yeah, so we wanted to get our first mock draft of the year out of the way. We're going into the pre-combine mock this week. It's going to be a super flex mock, just 2 rounds for you guys. And we're going to do it a little differently. We didn't want to know each other's rankings beforehand, so we independently ranked all of the players, and we're going to do a draft now. But we're also going to give you guys our rankings, but we're going to put the rankings at the front of the video so you guys have a little more fun for the draft, a little video editing magic for you guys. So during the draft, we have no idea what each other's rankings are. But you guys are going to know.
We're going to start with the running backs, and I'm going to start since, spoiler alert, I lose a coin flip later. So, number one, Bijan Robinson. Duh.
Yeah.
Don't trade the 1-1 if you have it. Just saying.
I'm right there with you. He's the most exciting RB prospect we've seen in a while. So it just makes sense. He's the top tier guy.
Yep. Hell yeah. Well, I'm going a little funky. I got Kendre Miller. I don't know if I'm saying his name. I know Miller is correct. He's from TCU. And I've just been really impressed kind of by the seemingly total package. Really just kind of hot on the tape, man.
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of Kendre. He not quite up to the 2 slot, but he is in my top 5. So, but at my number 2 spot is so the way I did it, I tried to rank everybody on traits without like just individually and then just put them all together and whatever the math said, that's what I went with instead of like, oh, well, actually, I think I like this guy better just to see where I was at like in my headspace. And my number 2 ended up being Zach Charbonnet. And I think it's because he's not like the premium athlete as some of these other guys. Like he doesn't have the top end speed. He doesn't have the craziest burst or the quickness, but like it's good everywhere. It's really good everywhere. He doesn't have really any weaknesses. And I love the way he runs. I just think he's a complete back. And I think that goes a long way. He's going to be great in the receiving game. And I just liked him a lot. And this isn't a comparison necessarily, because I don't think he plays like Nick Chubb, but I just remember thinking while watching him that, like, man, this feels like watching Nick Chubb if Nick Chubb caught the ball a lot. Which, if that's who he ends up being, oh man, that's going to be dangerous. That would be insane. But that's just how I felt. And so that he jumped up in my rankings pretty high.
Yeah, I love him. Just did a profile on him last week. If you guys want to check out our running back prospect episode, that was a pretty good one. I've been into Mr. Charbonnet, pinkies up for a long time. UCLA just tearing it up. Looking forward to the combine. I'm hoping he can display a little bit of that athletic traits, a little bit of speed. I'd love it if more running backs did the shuttle 3-cone this year. Kind of let us know how they got that agility. Big vert jump would be great. But yeah, he's very powerful, very much on the burst, and he catches the ball naturally. I just want to see if he's got that X factor to make him really that number 2 guy in this class for me.
That's fair.
So yeah, I got him at 3. Who's your number 3?
So yeah, my number 3 ended up being Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's like the highest upside dual threat He's got like Alvin Kamara levels of like maybe he'll never get 1,000 yards rushing, but he'll have like 800 and 800 receiving. So who cares? He still has 1,600 yards, like that type of ability. I will say he did tie, like as far as the overall number with Kendra Miller.
Okay.
I ranked Gibbs ahead when they tied, but they are 3 and 4, and they ended up with the same overall score.
Well, that's fun. We got the same top four because Gibbs is my number four,
Okay.
and yeah, kind of like you're saying, super athletic, dual threat. He's kind of slipped on mine just because he's. I don't think he profiles as like a three down back
Mm.
that is going to be on the field. He's kind of more of a committee type dude. Going to be explosive. But yeah, he kind of didn't really look like a running back. He acts like a running back, but he kind of looks like tall and skinny instead of being like stocky and powerful.
Yeah.
But he does it on the field. Great cutbacks. He really can hit some home runs. But yeah, he's number four for me. Who do you got for us?
Well, that was
Mr.
Kendra
Miller.
Miller.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll jump into number five. This is probably a reach, but I went with Sean Tucker, the Orangeman.
Mm.
Syracuse, as I mentioned in the future. I really like him. I'm higher on him than most people, but he just has that upfield. Doesn't waste time going east and west. Just kind of like barrels down the
Hmm.
field. And I like a guy that looks like a bowling ball, and he really looked like that to me. I'm about him.
Yeah, I'm not as into Sean Tucker as you are. He's still in my top 10. He just went a little further down. So as far as my five, and ironically, um, I don't know what I was about to say there. Actually, didn't make any sense. Ironically, nothing. Not
That's all.
ironically, my number five is Tank Bigsby out of Auburn. I like Tank, man. Like he ended up higher than I would have probably expected him to. Doing the rankings this way, but he's got a high motor, man. He plays with a lot of energy. I think he's super explosive, and he has really, really nice cuts. He doesn't have like the top end speed, and he doesn't have the vision that I'm typically looking for. I feel like sometimes he can miss a hole here or there, but I think overall he's got a lot of potential, and I think he could be coached up. And yeah, he ended up pretty high in my rankings, higher than I thought, and he's right in that middleweight class. So I like that.
Heck yeah. My number six guy, I went with Izzy Abandakanda out of Pitt.
Hmm.
Another guy from last week's prospect profiles. Guys want to get in the mind of a guru and see what I'm really talking about with this guy. I'll just give you a little bit of nuggets. He's got what a 22-yard average on his touchdown
Hmm.
rushes, which kind of tells you 21 all-purpose touchdowns and in 2 years of major production. Breaking like Tony Dorsett's record, doing things that only Ricky Williams has done in the Power
Hmm.
Five. He's done some major shit, so I'm about him.
Yeah.
So he lands at number six for me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I have him at number six as well. I wouldn't have expected that. He's got a lethal combination of size and speed. I think he could come up with like more ways to break tackles. It seems like it's kind of just like speed, open space, but like that's not a huge detriment. I think he looks really good, and he's only 20 years old, so he can definitely kind of develop that game. So I'm right there with you. I got him at six as well.
Heck yeah. Seven is kind of my dark horse, I guess. I put him. No one's got him in the top 10, but Northwestern's Evan Hall.
Hmm.
I really like him. This is my thing. I watch him play, and he's explosive, like extremely explosive. Like he pops off the screen. I always say he's like dropping some Mentos in a Coke bottle. You know what I mean?
There you go.
So the things about him, he's like a pinball. If you watch him,
Hmm.
he's just like all over the place, very energetic, and it's fun to watch. But he also had 55 catches for over 500 yards this past season, including a 200-yard receiving game against Duke, which was really fun to watch. If you want to see like what the best of his potential is, that's a good game to check out where he really goes off in the receiving game. So that's my number seven.
Nice. Yeah, my number seven ended up being Tajay Spears. He's probably not in a ton of people's top 10, but I like him a lot. He's definitely one I'll be looking for in the combine. Coming out of Tulane, he's not playing the craziest competition ever. So that's always a fear and keeping him away. But if he comes in and just destroys that combine and like teams notice, I think he could be deadly.
Heck yeah. That was a rough name to exclude from my top 10. Spoiler, he's not in these next three names. My number eight, yeah, number eight guy is Devin Achane.
Hmm.
So out of Texas A&M, this guy, phew, this guy was pretty amazing, especially catching the ball, just running the ball.
Hmm.
I'd say it's the most fun running back that I watched in the film room. But he comes in super light, the
Yeah.
185, and that's why he's dropping on my board. If he goes out in the combine and does some explosive stuff beyond that weight's capability, I might reconsider.
Yeah, he's a combine guy for me. He didn't make my top 10, but I'm a bit more anal about size, I think. But I think he has potential though, because he's crazy, crazy explosive. He's so quick, so fast. If he can put on a little bit of weight, that would put him in the if he put on like 10-ish pounds, that would put him in the category of like Jamal Charles, CJ Spiller. And if he keeps the quickness and like home run ability that he has and puts on that weight, I think he would rocket up a lot of people's rankings. But for now, he did get left outside of my top 10, which means that my number eight guy is Bijan Robinson's backup. I have Roshan Johnson sitting there. I think, the production hurts him a lot. He didn't really get a lot of time to try and produce, but when he was on the field, he looked good. Like his production for the amount of work he got is pretty on par with some of these other guys if you just look at it from a pure like, okay, how did he do when he had the ball? And he's got a lot of things I like. He has a lot of things I don't like. He doesn't have like the top end speed. He's a little tall. He's kind of a power back, which definitely knocks him down the rankings here. But if he gets drafted to a team that kind of wants to start him, I think that should be a green flag for everybody to try and go get him.
Yeah, man, we'll see. I didn't put him on my top 10, but I'm willing to.
Yeah, no, I
I'm
mean,
warming. I'm warming. Okay, well, we're at number 9, and
mhm.
I got Dwayne McBride out of UAB.
That's incredibly interesting because so do I,
That is
and I
interesting.
wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, it's kind of a guy that I mean, he just blew the doors off of Conference USA,
Hmm.
1,700 yard season, 1,300 plus last year. We're talking about 36 touchdowns in 3 seasons, and one of those seasons was a COVID 6 game. So
Yeah.
it's like you can't compare that production to anyone, and it could be competition level, but I don't know. What do you think, man? What are you looking for at the combine out of this dude?
I mean, it's exactly that. Like he looks like he was lapping people on the field. He looked like the best athlete on the field. The question is, like, was he or was everybody else just that bad? I think I read something that he's only played against Power Five defenses twice in his entire collegiate career. So it's like, it's one of those things. But I'm looking for like if he comes in and he crushes it, and it makes you see that the things on tape weren't just like smoke and mirrors due to like people around him not being as explosive. I'm gonna be all over this dude because you're right. He looks incredible on tape. We just got to see it, see where he kind of evens out at.
Yeah, man. Speaking of, I watched the tape with them up against LSU, and he had 13 carries for 34 yards,
Yeah,
and it's like,
yeah. That uh, I lost my train of thought. Never mind. Don't worry about me.
I mean, it's scary. But number 10, I got the tank, the Bigsby,
Mm.
the Auburn guy. So yeah, I guess it seems like you're a little bit higher on him than I am, but man, I think he's got a lot of potential. I think it's so early. I could definitely change my tone of voice on this guy, my emotional attachment. It's too early in the process to concrete anything in, but he made my top 10. but I wasn't too super blown away by the film, I guess. What
Yeah,
I'm
and
saying.
I mean that's gonna happen. And this was initial rankings and everything, but I basically all we did was switch two guys that both wear orange and blue because I put Sean Tucker at 10 instead of Tank Bigsby, who you put Sean Tucker at 5, which was where I had Tank Bigsby. So like it is one of those things. I like Tank Bigsby a lot. I kind of already went into that. And the reason I don't have Sean Tucker, I agree with most of what you said about him. He does have that top end speed. He's got lots of power and like a small frame, and it makes him hard to tackle. Um, my problem with him, I feel like he makes multiple steps to cut, and it like slows his like cutting and vision ability, in my opinion. Like, and and maybe I'm off base here, I'm not a professional or anything, but it felt like he could be more efficient. And I just felt like he's listed at close to 220, and I feel like he played like he was at 205, which isn't bad because he like exploded and had a good season, but like it just made me, as far as the Sean Tucker film experience, it didn't hit me the same as these other guys did. But like you're saying, this is our first time ranking these guys. So,
Yeah, man, and don't sell yourself short. You're a professional. You're a learned doctor of fantasy football.
all
So
that.
don't forget, man. Don't ever second guess nothing until obviously we're wrong, and then you can do an episode about it next off season. Okay, after people forget all this. Anyway, we're getting right into the wide receivers. I'm going to start it off. My number one guy, TCU's Quentin Johnston. I
Yeah.
already said it. I like big guys. I say it every time we talk about wide receivers. Lack of size in this draft really makes me gravitate towards him. So that's what's
Yeah, I
up.
mean, if he hits, he's going to be incredible. Like he's got the size and the athleticism to do it. He didn't end it up as my number one, which was pretty surprising to me, actually. I ended up going with Jordan Addison after the numbers kind of all went out. I'm a big route runner guy, and like that's going to go a long way with me. And I think he's the best route runner in the class by a lot, like quite a bit. I think he's got really good hands, and like he's just great everywhere. And I'm pretty high on him. But the Quentin Johnson should be in there. He felt a 3 for me, but it wasn't that far. You know what I mean? But that's who I had at 1.
Yeah, I had Addison number 2. Like I mentioned, or he's the Blitnikoff 2021 winner, and then he changed schools to follow the money trail out there to USC in California, and he did great. He's a dynamic, explosive. But my number 3 guy is the 2022 Blitnikoff winner, Jalen Hyatt. This guy is lightning fast, you watch the film and you're like, shit, did this dude line up in the end zone? Like, how the hell did he get so deep? That separation level is unreal. And I think he's being a little bit underrated, honestly.
Yeah. My only thing with Hyatt, I have him at 7, so he's in the top 10. I think he's going to be really good. It felt like all he did was like run streaks out of the slot and just like burn people out of the slot. And I don't know that like that's just going to happen in the NFL. But I mean, the speed is incredible. He looks untouchable half the time. So like, I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those areas that maybe I should be more in on. My number 3 guy, excuse me. My number 2 guy, I didn't do my number 3 guy because I skipped. My number 2 guy was Zay Flowers. It's a guy I'm pretty high on. I'm a lot higher on than some people. I think the extra weight, if he can keep that quickness and elusivity, I think he's going to be incredible. Spent a while on him though, and then at 4 it was Quentin Johnston. I echo everything you said. I was surprised he didn't end up being the number 1 guy there for me.
Nice. Yeah, sorry, man. I think I leapfrogged you, but
It's all good.
I got Zay Flowers as my number 4.
Okay.
But I'll shift off and let you dip in number 5 and we get back on track.
So my number 4 is JSN, Jackson Smith Najigba. That's 4, right?
5. No problem.
I haven't said 5. I
Oh,
talked about Jalen Hyatt, but I haven't said 5.
damn. All right.
So anyway, JSN, that's my number 4. I talked about him during the mock draft, or I will talk about him during the mock draft. So you're gonna hear my thoughts about him coming up. But I just think like he could be like the A plus slot receiver in the NFL if he goes to a team that like runs their offense through that.
Nice. I'm about it. So we're ready for number 5.
Yes, we're ready for number
Okay.
5 now.
Whew. We're gonna have to take a second take on this. Jackson Smith and Jigba is my number 5.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, he was a super slot. I was just a little, I got him probably lower than most people just because he didn't get a 22 season. And in his 21 season, he had, 2 first round wideouts, playing the outside,
That's fair.
taking the heat off of him. So I think is everything that, we want him to be and more. I just would like to see the standalone
Hmm.
success, and I didn't get a chance to see it, so that's that.
That's fair. And yeah, him being hurt last year definitely hurt his value. And you, like you said, you didn't get to see it. For my number 5, it ended up being Josh Downs. I like him a lot. I think he's like in the second tier of route running. And I think he gives a lot with his quickness and he gets a lot of separation. So I like Josh Downs out of North Carolina quite a bit. He came in at number 5.
Well, that's great that you just keep segueing me in because I had Josh Downs at number 6, man. So I won't go double dipping. What's your number 6 looking like?
So my number 6 was Jalen Hyatt. I'm not as high on him as you are, but
Hmm.
I do like him, and just outside the top 5 for me. In fact, like total score, Josh Downs was a 7.83, and Jalen Hyatt was like a 7.75. So they're very, very close. It's not anything crazy. Not gonna go too far on him, but the speed kills. He can absolutely murder you if you give him the chance.
Yeah, and he's played with a bunch of different setups at UNC and had great success throughout. So
Hmm.
I'm all about him. My number 7 guy is Rasheed Rice, and I know you did a profile for him when we did our wide receiver prospects a couple weeks ago. So I'll just camp out and see if you make it to him at some point.
Ironically, he's 7 for me as well. So right there with you. I think his age hurts him a little bit, and then like I don't think he's like the most polished route runner or the fastest guy, but he has a lot of qualities I do like. He changes up his speed quite a bit and like kind of throws people off, and I appreciate that. And he's got like the quickness to still separate from people, and that's one of his strengths.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that that was coming, but I could feel it. I could feel it. I'm going Parker Washington at number 8,
Okay.
Penn State. He's like 5'10", 210 or something like that. And he's built like a running back, but he's kind of a physical guy in the receiving game, and he gets the ball and just kind of barrels around like a running back would. And I love to
Hmm.
see that. It's kind of like a thick, almost like a thick Elijah Moore type
Gotcha.
runner with the ball in his hands. So that made me
Hmm.
happy to see. But yeah, what's up on 8 with you?
Yeah, I'll get into 8 real quick, but I wanted to go back. I misspoke on Rasheed Rice. One of my issues with him is that he doesn't separate, and I said it was one of his strengths. So I
Oh,
wanted to go
gotcha.
back and fix that. I was crossing 2 people, but other than that, like I do like Rasheed Rice a lot, and I'm with you on Parker Washington. He did make my top 10, not at number 8, but at number 8 I have Cedric Tillman. I
Really?
liked him a lot as the complement to Jalen Hyatt. I think he's got good size, and like he's got good hands. Like he's not the like crazy explosive athlete or anything like that. But I think he can be like a strong number 2 in an offense, and I think that gives him some upside that maybe some of these other two guys don't.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what happens with his 40 time, because like, honestly, I give these rankings and it's kind of like a reserved anticipation ranking, but like Cedric Tillman is like, in my heart, he's a top 5 wide receiver in this
Okay.
class. I'm infatuated with him. I hit him on the wide receiver prospect episode, and yeah, he just blew up in 2021, and then he had an injury that held him out 2022. But yeah, he's got good size, great athleticism, and if he has the speed to match it, I'm about him. So I like that you put him where you
Yeah.
put him. What do you have at number 9?
Number 9, I have a guy who's probably way too small and is probably going to fall out, but he's super exciting. I put Nathaniel Dell in here at number 9. He's just so exciting to watch. Unfortunately, like one of his other weaknesses, I think, is like hands, which is kind of like if you're going to be small, at least catch everything that comes to you. But like he's just so explosive, man. He can get a gadget roll going, but I think that's what's ultimately going to fail him is he's going to end up as another one of these gadget guys in the NFL that like have no real fantasy value but do have value to their team. Or he ends up like Tutu Atwell and gets drafted in the second round and doesn't do anything.
Hey, go Rams. My number 10 guy is definitely probably a shocker to the community at large. But I put Jonathan Mingo. This is an
Okay.
Ole Miss wide receiver. And he's a big guy, but he is shifty and he is quick. And he really has great footwork. He likes to twist up cornerbacks and get separation just by nuanced techniques. And I'm looking to see some kind of speed out of him. I really do. I don't want to say anything too crazy, but I feel like this guy's ceiling is like DK Metcalf. So
Oh,
that's where I'm
okay.
at with him. I'm very much infatuated with him. He could be a guy that becomes nothing. I get infatuated with those guys, but I'm about him, and so I wanted to put him on this list, just so you guys could be aware that I'm serious about him, and I think he's got a lot of potential.
I respect it. I'm excited about it. I'll have to go check him out some more. See what you're seeing. Mine's gonna be not that exciting. You already hit him earlier. I got Parker Washington at number 10. I think he is a hell of a player. I think he can earn like a really, really strong number 2 role. Honestly, like we talked about it, I don't know. I've talked about it a lot. It reminds me of the same thoughts I had with like Alec Pierce last year, where if he ends up on the right team, he could be like a dominant number 2. The reason I'm not as high on him is like that 5'10" size for being that is kind of like drawing me back on him. Like I'd really like him to at least be 6 foot. I mean, that was the whole thing with like Alec Pierce was he's like 6'3", 6'4", something like that. And so that gave him a lot of extra value. Whereas Parker Washington may be like a more solid, consistent player, but he doesn't have the like athletic or size stuff to kind of set him apart. But I do like him a lot.
Hells yeah. Well, I mean, now that we got the rankings out of the way, we better do a mock, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Want to flip for first?
Yeah, let's flip.
Okay, call it in the air.
Okay. Tails.
You win.
Woo, let's go.
All right, draft it up.
Tails never fails. So I get the 1-1. And of course, I'm going to go Bijan Robinson. I think it makes too much sense not to. He's like the best running back prospect we've seen in a really long time. Feel like he's probably going to be the 1-1 in most, if not all, drafts. So,
Yeah, I mean, you'd be seriously crazy to trade this pick. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Tails never fails. I'll tell you what else never fails. Alabama quarterbacks in the NFL. Oh, shit. There's a Mac Jones joke for you, I guess. But I'm going Bryce Young, man. This is super flex.
Yeah.
I like Stroud, but let's just see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean,
Pre-combine, we chilling.
Bryce Young has that like crazy like playmaking ability that's super fun to watch. So like it makes a lot of sense. I will go CJ Stroud here though. I like you. I think he's probably my favorite QB prospect coming out, and I think I would snatch him up at the 1-3 instantly.
Hell yeah. At this point, I'm gonna stick to my guns and go with Quentin Johnston.
Okay.
Just because, as you guys know, our faithful listeners, I like a big dude in the wide receiver room, and ain't a ton of them at the top end this year, so I'm just going to get him before someone else does.
Yeah, makes a ton of sense. He's like the wide receiver prospect with the highest upside, crazy athletic. That does give me the chance to take another running back here, though. I'm going to take Mr. Zach Charbonnet here at the 1.5. I'm really getting higher and higher on Charbonnet. I mean, I guess I can't get too much higher on him. He's the second running back off the board, but a big fan. Think he's got a lot of good qualities. We'll probably get into it later, so I'll just kick it back to you.
Pinky's up for Charbonnet, man. Got to tell you what. I'm gonna stick down south. I've been going Texas here, and I'm going to stay with the Texas boys with TCU's Kendre Miller, man. Kendre Miller.
Kendre Miller. That's good.
I'm a fan of him.
It's a great pick.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, this puts me in a really, really interesting spot here because I think there's an incredible wide receiver on the board, and I still think there's an incredible running back on the board. I'm going to go with the wide receiver. I'm going to go Jordan Addison here. Best route runner in this class. I think his separation skills are incredible, and I think it's a really good pick at 1.7.
Well, my friend, that is a good pick. I like what you're doing, but I'm going to do one more for you. I'm going to take the dual threat quarterback that everyone's going to be clamoring about after they show him throwing the ball deep. You know, it's like Malik Willis times 10,000 minus 4, and then you get Lamar Jackson. So I'm going for Anthony Richardson, the quarterback out of Florida.
Makes a lot of sense. I was thinking about going there fairly soon. I'm cool with this because if Jahmyr Gibbs makes it to the 1.9, I'm a happy camper. I don't think I have the 1.9 in any league, but I love Jahmyr Gibbs here. I think it'd be a really good pick.
Yeah, I'm with you. That is a solid pick, but I'm going to have to go ahead and get my dude out of Tennessee, Jalen Hyatt, Bolitnikoff winner 2022, unlike your Bolitnikoff winner 2021 in Addison. Yeah, I'm just a fan of what Tennessee's doing with the wide receivers these days, so I'm getting them.
Yeah, no, makes a ton of sense. Tempted to go Will Levis here. It is a super flex after all. Probably should, but I just have high hopes for my boy Zay Flowers, so I'm gonna make sure that he's a first round pick. Take him at the 1.11. I really like Zay Flowers. The report coming out that he put on 10 pounds. If he can maintain that speed and athleticism with that extra poundage, look out.
Well, you putting respect on people's name. I'm just going to go with Israel Abandakanda here. Put him in the first round because I'm really high on him, and I think the Combine's going to treat him well.
Yeah, so. I think I agree with you. He's going to surprise some people, I think. That makes it pretty easy. I will go Will Levis here at the top of the second round. He's probably going to – he most likely will go in the first round in most Superflex drafts. Probably going to go in the top 15 picks, if not top 10. Of the NFL draft. You know, I'm not the quarterback guru. That wouldn't be where I'm at, but he would be my least favorite out of the four, with Richardson's upside on the running side.
Do we need to find a quarterback guru?
Maybe.
We could rent. We don't want you around all the time because we don't need that energy.
No.
But just stop by and give us a little information.
Yeah.
But I think I might be officially the tight end guru. So give me the first one here with Michael Mayer at 2-2. I like that.
I think in non-Superflex drafts, Mayer probably goes in the first round. But in Superflex, it makes sense that he falls. But it also makes sense that he'd be the second or first tight end taken. I'm going to take a guy who I like quite a bit and I think is a pretty good steal at the 2-3. Jackson Smith-Njigba here. I think if he finds himself in the right offense, could be really unstoppable. Now, it seems like the right offense for him was 2006 with either Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. Maybe he doesn't find that offense as easy, but if he gets a team that funnels through the slot and just like uses that as their number one receiver, like a Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, guys like that, I think JSN could be the like top tier version of that. I just think he's a very incredibly intelligent wide receiver.
Yeah, he's definitely a super slot plus
Mm-hmm.
man. He's super duper ready to roll. But another one of these lightweight guys that I'm pretty happy about to see what happens. Feisty wide receiver out of North Carolina is Josh Downs. So
Mm.
I'm gonna be chasing that Downs.
I like Josh Downs a lot there. That frees me up. Um, there's three running backs here who I like a lot. I think I'm gonna go Tank Bigsby out of Auburn here. He was one that kind of surprised me with how much I liked him. But I think he's a really good player. I think he's got a high motor and plays with a lot of energy. He has a lot of burst. Um, his top end speed is lacking, and his vision isn't like my favorite. I feel like he misses holes sometimes. But if he can kind of be coached up, I like him enough to take a chance on him, especially in the second round.
Hell yeah, buddy. I'm gonna go ahead and get a running back as well. I'm going with Sean Tucker, the Orange
Okay.
Man, out of Syracuse. There's a lot to like about him. So
Yeah,
let it be.
I'm with you. To be honest, I really love the running back class this year, so I'm gonna stick in the running back class. I'm gonna take Tajay Spears. I just I know he didn't really have a great Senior Bowl. He didn't really get on the field very much, but I really liked what I saw on tape. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab him and hope he lands in a good landing spot. He's a guy I'm really intrigued to see what his combine numbers are.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. See if he can kind of, fortify. He had an amazing year, so if he could back that up with some measurables, it'd be pretty
Hmm.
tight.
Oh yeah, big time.
I'm going to go ahead and go with Parker Washington out of
Okay.
Penn State.
Hmm.
This guy's a beefy, kind of stout, short dude.
Hmm.
Just kind of a stocky wide receiver, kind of I don't know. He catches the ball and turns into a running back in the field, and pretty nasty dude. So I'm into it.
Yeah,
Giving it
no,
pass.
I like him a lot too. Um, I've done running backs so much. Let's change it up a little bit. He's a bit older, but I'm gonna go Rasheed Rice here. I think he has a lot to offer, at least early on, and like can be like a cool number two in an offense. At least, at the 2-9, I'm taking a chance on a wide receiver.
And then I went Cedric Tillman. So he's another volunteer. So I nailed that by getting one at the 110 and one at the 210.
Nice.
I love my Tennessee guys. Orange has been my favorite color for a long time, so that just is compounded here by them being badass with their
Hell yeah.
with their style. So
I like it. Well, for my last pick, I'm going to take Roshan Johnson. He's a hard one to place for me. I think he's got a lot of talent, but obviously he didn't have the production
hey,
sitting behind Bijan Robinson. But I think he could go a lot sooner, and I think he's going to be like one of those guys. If he gets a good landing spot, he could drive all the way up to the first round for some people. So he's an interesting one, and I think it would be a steal at the 211.
you got it, man. Texas boys, man. There's a lot of Texas guys coming out from all kinds of Texas schools, man. It's getting feisty, and I like it. Didn't see that TCU deep run coming, did you? But it happened. Another team that had a good year by upsetting the USC money trail was the Utah Yates, man, the Utes.
Utes,
And
the
so
Utes,
I'm going with Dalton Kincaid.
like it.
I was all about him as a tight end, and I think he's got a lot of potential to, whatever. He's going to be a highly drafted tight end. I think he's got a lot of potential. There's a lot of tight end needy teams. If you don't believe me, just go back to our free agency episode or any of our past episodes. We get into team needs and kind of what the options are, and I think he's going to feather in and be a badass somewhere.
Hell yeah. I like it. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
We did it.
The mock draft, the pre-combine RDR mock draft official. Never been done before. Definitely not ever.
Never influenced by each other's rankings, not even once.
Mm-mm.
Hell yeah. Well, with that in mind, we better
You want to
sign
reveal
off,
said
right?
rankings? Oh,
Yeah.
no. Oh,
Well,
fuck.
we'll just sign
Forgot.
off because it's the combine, and so we're gonna see how this mock holds up. Gosh, this has been a ton of fun. Christian, I think you had a good time too.
Oh yeah, mocks are hella fun. Except I don't get the players at the end, which is unfortunate.
Well, we got to come back next week after everyone runs and jumps and all that stuff, and get to decide how any of this gets changed. Maybe we can reconfigure and start from scratch.
Let's do it. I'm
So we'll see
excited.
you there.
See you next week.
We are faithful.